The grand hall of Axiom Prime Station stretched for nearly a kilometer. Crystal walls glowed with soft blue light, and floating platforms held representatives from hundreds of worlds. Today marked 200 years of galactic peace, and every species had sent their finest delegates to celebrate. Ambassador Ji-won Choi stood in the human section, a small platform near the back. Her dark blue uniform was simple compared to the elaborate robes and armor worn by other delegates. She smiled politely as species after species gave grand speeches about their contributions to galactic harmony. The Valon Empire representative, a massive creature with 4 arms and golden scales, stepped forward. His voice boomed across the hall. The Valon Empire maintains order across 3,000 systems. Our fleet of 10,000 warships ensures peace and prosperity for all. Murmurs of approval filled the hall. The Valons were the strongest military power in the galaxy. Everyone knew it. Everyone respected it. The Valon pointed toward the human platform. And even the smallest among us contribute what they can. Humanity protects its single system with... He paused, checking a datapad. 12 defense cruisers. Laughter rippled through the assembly. Ji-won did not flinch. She had heard such remarks for decades. Humanity was seen as weak, backward, unremarkable. She preferred it that way. When her turn came to speak, Ji-won walked to the central platform. Her voice was calm and measured. Humanity is grateful to be part of this great community. We have learned much from the elder species. We look forward to continuing our peaceful cooperation for centuries to come. It was a forgettable speech, exactly as she intended. As Ji-won returned to her platform, she caught the eye of the Valon representative. He nodded, satisfied that humanity knew its place. The celebration continued for hours. Music played. Exotic foods were shared. Diplomats made deals and alliances. Everything was as it had been for 2 centuries, peaceful, stable, safe. Then the alarm started. A young technician rushed into the hall, breaking every rule of protocol. Her face was pale. Council leaders, we have detected unusual energy signatures at the galactic rim. Deep space monitoring stations are reporting. The council chairman, an ancient being who had led the assembly for 50 years, raised a hand. Calm yourself. What kind of energy signatures? They match patterns from the old archives, sir. From the warnings left by the ancients. Silence fell across the hall. Every species had legends about the ancients. Civilizations that existed 10,000 years ago. Civilizations that vanished. The Valon representative laughed, breaking the tension. Old stories. Space is full of strange energy patterns. Our scientists study these things regularly. There is no cause for alarm. Other delegates nodded in agreement. The chairman waved dismissively. Increase monitoring in that sector, but let us not allow fear to ruin our celebration. The galaxy is at peace. Ji-won watched the technician leave, her warning ignored. She saw the data scrolling across the hall's displays. Energy signatures. Quantum distortions. Movement patterns. She knew what they meant. As the celebration resumed, Ji-won quietly excused herself. She walked through the curved corridors of Axiom Prime until she reached a private communication room. She locked the door and activated a heavily encrypted channel. A face appeared on the screen. Admiral Ha-Jin Kang looked older than his 58 years. Decades of carrying secrets had etched deep lines around his eyes. Ambassador, he said simply. The signs are confirmed, Ji-won replied. The council has dismissed them. They think it is nothing. Kang closed his eyes. Then it begins. How long do we have? Weeks, maybe less. The patterns match what we found in the ruins. Very well. Kang straightened. Initiating protocol awakening. All units will be ready, Ji-won nodded. 200 years of preparation. I hope it is enough. It has to be. No one else is ready. The Admiral's image flickered. I will see you when this is over, Ambassador. The screen went dark. Ji-won sat alone in the quiet room. Outside, the galaxy celebrated peace. They had no idea what was coming. They had forgotten the warnings. They had grown comfortable, but humanity remembered. Far from Axiom Prime, beyond Earth's moon, massive structures began to stir. For 2 centuries they had floated in the darkness, disguised as mining stations and research platforms. Now their true purpose awakened. Orbital defense platforms powered up. Energy shields came online. Weapon systems that had never been fired in anger ran final checks. Deep beneath the lunar surface, enormous hangar doors opened. Inside, rows upon rows of warships waited. Admiral Kang stood on the bridge of the command station. Through the viewports he could see Earth below, peaceful and blue. Behind him, holographic displays showed the hidden fleet coming to life. Captain Isol Park entered the bridge. At 32, she was young for her rank, but she had trained her entire life for this moment. Admiral, all ships are responding. The Prometheus is ready for deployment. The Prometheus was humanity's masterpiece, an experimental warship built with technology no other species possessed. Park had been chosen to command it. Kang walked to the center of the bridge. Every officer turned to face him. 200 years ago, our ancestors found something in this solar system. Ruins of an ancient battle, technology from a war that nearly destroyed the galaxy. They found warnings, too. Messages left by species that no longer exist. He paused, letting his words sink in. When we joined the Galactic Council, we hoped others had prepared too. We hoped someone else remembered. But they had forgotten. They were too comfortable. So we made a choice. We would prepare alone. We would appear weak. We would wait. Kang's voice grew stronger. The enemy is returning. The Devourers are coming, and we are the only ones ready to face them. Not because we wanted this burden. Not because we sought glory. But because it had to be done. He looked at each officer in turn. The galaxy will judge us for what we hid. They will question why we did not share our preparations. Let them. When this is over, they will understand. We did not hide our strength to threaten them. We hid it to save them. Silence filled the bridge. Then one by one, every officer saluted. Captain Park stepped forward. Orders, sir? We wait, Kang replied. Let the galaxy see what the Devourers are. Let them understand the threat. Then and only then will we show them who we really are. In the depths of space at the edge of the galaxy, something ancient stirred. Biomechanical forms that had slept for 10,000 years began to wake. They were hungry, and they remembered the taste of civilizations. 3 weeks had passed since the celebration at Axiom Prime. Captain Isol Park sat in the command chair of the human cruiser Destiny, watching the empty space ahead. Her crew was quiet. They had been assigned to patrol the outer colonies of the Valon Empire. It was boring work, meant for the weakest ships in the galactic fleet. Captain, I am picking up a distress signal, her communications officer said. It is from the Valon colony world Mekthar Prime. Park leaned forward. What does it say? The officer's face went pale. It just says run. Then it cuts off. Before Park could respond, 3 Valon scout ships emerged from hyperspace nearby. They were moving fast, too fast. One of them was trailing fire from a damaged engine. Park opened a channel. This is Captain Park of the human ship Destiny. Do you require assistance? A panicked voice answered. Get out of this system. They are right behind us. They destroyed everything. Who destroyed what? Report clearly, Park demanded. The Valon ship did not answer. Something else emerged from hyperspace. Park had never seen anything like it. The ships were organic, covered in dark metal and pulsing flesh. They moved like living creatures, not machines. There were hundreds of them. Battle stations, Park ordered. Her crew scrambled to their positions. The old cruiser was not built for real combat, but they would do their duty. The organic ships ignored the human cruiser. They went after the Valon scouts instead. Park watched in horror as they swarmed the damaged scout ship. It was not a quick death. The organic ships attached themselves to the hull and began breaking it apart. She could hear the screaming on the open channel. The other 2 Valon scouts tried to jump to hyperspace. The organic ships fired some kind of energy weapon. It created a field that prevented the jump. The scouts were trapped. Within minutes, they were being torn apart too. Captain, what are your orders? Her weapons officer asked. His voice was shaking. Park knew they could not win this fight. Record everything. Send it to Fleet Command. Then prepare to jump to hyperspace. The Destiny jumped away just as one of the organic ships turned toward them. Park looked at the sensor data as they fled. The organic ships had not followed. They were too busy consuming what was left of the Valon scouts. News of the attack spread across the galaxy within hours. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. This time there was no celebration. The Grand Hall of Axiom Prime was filled with fear and anger. The Valon Empire representative stood before the assembly. His usual pride was gone. We have lost contact with 17 colony worlds. Our 5th Fleet was sent to investigate. They engaged an enemy force at Kepler Line. The entire fleet was destroyed. 10,000 ships gone. Shocked silence filled the hall. The Fifth Fleet was the pride of the Valan military. They had never lost a major battle. "Show us the enemy," the council chairman demanded. Holographic images appeared in the center of the hall. Everyone could see the organic ships. They moved in swarms, thousands of them working together like insects. When they attacked, they did not just destroy ships. They consumed them. Metal, plastic, organic matter, everything was absorbed. An elderly delegate from a small, peaceful species stood up. Her voice trembled. "I know what these are. My people have stories. Old stories. The Devourers. They came 10,000 years ago. They consumed everything. My ancestors barely survived by hiding in deep space." More delegates began speaking. Every species had legends about the Devourers. They were the nightmare that ended the old galaxy. The enemy that no one could defeat. The chairman called for order. "We must unite. Every species will contribute their military forces. We will form a joint defense fleet. Together we can stop them." Ambassador Jiwan Choi stood in the human section. When called upon, she spoke calmly. "Humanity will contribute its defense fleet. All 12 cruisers are at the council's disposal." Some delegates laughed nervously. 12 ships would make no difference. But the chairman nodded gratefully. Every ship counted now. Over the next week, the Galactic Fleet assembled. Thousands of ships from hundreds of species. The Valans contributed what remained of their military. Other major powers sent their fleets. Even small species sent what they could. It was the largest military force ever assembled. The human cruisers were placed in the rear guard. No one expected them to be useful in real combat. Captain Park commanded one of those cruisers. She stood on the bridge as the massive fleet prepared to jump to the Kepler line. This is where they would make their stand. "All ships ready," the fleet commander announced. "We jump in 30 seconds. Remember, we fight for every world in this galaxy. We fight for survival." The fleet jumped. Thousands of ships emerged from hyperspace at the Kepler line. Sensor displays immediately lit up with contacts. The Devourers were here. There were so many that the sensors could not count them all. "All ships engage," the commander ordered. The battle began. Energy weapons lit up the darkness of space. Missiles filled the void. The Galactic Fleet had superior numbers and firepower. At first it seemed like they were winning. Devourer ships exploded under the concentrated fire. But then the Devourers adapted. They began moving in patterns the fleet commanders had never seen. They sacrificed some ships to break through the defensive lines. Once inside, they tore into the larger warships. And when a ship was destroyed, the Devourers consumed it. They grew stronger with every kill. Park watched from her position in the rear. The main battle line was collapsing. Ships were dying too fast. The Devourers were not just winning. They were hunting. "Captain, the flagship is calling for all reserves to advance," her communications officer reported. Park knew it was useless. Their old cruisers could not make a difference. But she gave the order anyway. "All ships move forward. We will do what we can." Before they could advance, the flagship exploded. A massive Devourer ship, larger than any they had seen, had broken through the center of the line. It tore the flagship apart in seconds. "Retreat!" someone screamed on the fleet channel. "All ships retreat." What followed was not a battle. It was a slaughter. Ships jumped to hyperspace in panic. Many did not make it. The Devourers used their energy fields to trap them. Park ordered her ship to jump immediately. They barely escaped. When the survivors gathered afterward, they counted their losses. Of the thousands of ships that went to the Kepler line, less than a third returned. The Valan Empire had lost most of its remaining fleet. Other species had lost everything. Park sat alone in her quarters. She had recorded everything. She had watched the strongest military forces in the galaxy get destroyed in hours, and she knew the truth that no one wanted to say out loud. They could not win this war. Not like this. Not without help. On Earth, Admiral Kang watched the same recordings. He saw the defeat at Kepler Line. He saw the Devourers in action. Everything matched what humanity had learned from the ancient ruins. The galaxy was not ready. But humanity was. It was almost time to show them what humans had really been preparing for. The Devourers did not stop. After the disaster at Kepler Line, they pushed deeper into Council space. World after world went silent. Billions died. The refugees fled toward the core worlds, but there was nowhere left to run. The Galactic Council met again. This time the mood was different, not fear, not anger, desperation. The delegates looked defeated before the meeting even began. We must negotiate, one delegate suggested. Perhaps they can be reasoned with. We can offer them uninhabited systems. They do not negotiate, the Valon representative said bitterly. They consume. That is all they do. We have tried everything. Nothing works. The chairman looked older than usual. Then we must prepare for the worst. All civilians will evacuate to the core worlds. All military forces will make a final stand at the sanctuary line. If we fall there, the galaxy falls. And what of the weaker species? Someone asked. Those without strong militaries? The chairman sighed. They will help with evacuations. Every ship counts. Even cargo vessels can carry refugees. The meeting continued for hours. Battle plans were made. Resources were allocated. Everyone knew it was probably useless, but they had to try. As delegates began to leave, Ambassador Ji-won Choi stood up. Chairman, if I may request a private audience with the council leadership. The chairman looked annoyed. Ambassador, we have no time for diplomatic formalities. The galaxy is ending. That is precisely why you need to hear what I have to say, Ji-won replied calmly. In private now. Something in her voice made the chairman pause. He looked at her carefully. Very well. Council leadership will remain. Everyone else dismissed. 10 minutes later, only the most powerful leaders in the galaxy remained in the hall. The Valon representative. The chairman. Leaders from the major species. And Ambassador Ji-won Choi. Speak, the chairman said. What is so important? Ji-won walked to the center of the hall. She activated a holographic display. 200 years ago, when humanity first achieved spaceflight, we found something in our solar system. Ancient ruins on Mars. Technology that did not belong there. Warnings written in languages we had never seen. The Valon representative laughed. We know your history, Ambassador. You found old artifacts. So did many species. What does that matter now? Because we found more than artifacts, Ji-won said quietly. We found a battlefield. The ruins of ships exactly like the ones killing you now. And we found the remains of weapons that destroyed them. She had everyone's attention now. We studied those weapons. We learned how they worked. We found data cores that told us the history of the last Devourer War. We learned that they would return, and we learned how to fight them. That is impossible, the chairman said. We searched the archives. There are no records of how the ancients defeated the Devourers. Because it did not happen here, Ji-won replied. The final battle of the last war happened in our solar system. The survivors left Earth and spread across the galaxy. They became your ancestors. But they did not want to remember what they had to do to survive. So they forgot. They hid from the truth. She changed the holographic display. Now it showed images of technology, advanced weapons, ship designs, things the Council had never seen before. When we joined the Galactic Council, we hoped others had prepared. We thought surely someone else found what we found. Surely someone else was ready. But no one was. You were all comfortable, safe, you had forgotten. So we made a choice, Ji-won continued. We would prepare alone. We would build weapons and ships in secret. We would train armies. We would do everything necessary to be ready when the Devourers returned. And we would hide it all until the moment it was needed. The Valon representative stood up angrily. You hid weapons from the Council? That violates every treaty. You could have shared this technology. We could have been ready together. Ji-won looked at him coldly. If we had shown you this technology 200 years ago, what would you have done? You would have seen us as a threat. You would have demanded we share everything, and when we refused, you would have taken it by force. We have seen how you treat species that become too strong. You crush them. We needed time to prepare, she said. Time to build enough ships. Time to train enough soldiers. Time to be ready to face an enemy that destroyed the entire galaxy once before. So we appeared weak. We let you mock our 12 cruisers. We let you think we were primitive, and we used that time to prepare for this moment. The chairman leaned forward. Ambassador, what exactly are you saying? Ji-won smiled for the first time. I am saying that humanity's true military is not 12 cruisers. I am saying we are ready to fight, and I am saying that if you want to survive this war, you will let us lead it. She transmitted coordinates, authentication codes, access to hidden channels. The human defense fleet is ready to engage. We have 300 warships built specifically to counter Devourer technology. We have weapons that can hurt them. We have tactics that work. We have been preparing for this war since before most of you were born. This is madness, someone whispered. Humans are weak. Everyone knows this. Then watch, Jiwan said. She activated a live feed. The view showed the edge of Earth's solar system. Empty space, nothing special. Then the space began to ripple. Massive gates opened, ripping holes in reality itself. Through them came ships. They were enormous, sleek, covered in weapons that no one recognized. 300 of them emerged from the quantum gates, forming perfect battle formations. Each ship bristled with energy shields and advanced armor. They looked nothing like the primitive cruisers the galaxy had seen. A face appeared on the main display. Admiral Hajin Kang looked out at the Council leadership. Galactic Council, this is Admiral Kang of the Human Defense Fleet. We are ready to engage the enemy. We request permission to proceed to the front lines. The hall was silent. Every delegate stared at the display in shock. The Valon representative's mouth hung open. The chairman looked like he had seen a ghost. Finally, the chairman found his voice. How long have you been hiding this? 200 years, Jiwan replied. Every moment of peace you enjoyed. Every year you were safe. We spent that time preparing for this. We did not ask to be the ones who remembered. We did not want this burden. But when we found those ruins, we knew someone had to be ready. So we made ourselves ready. Admiral Kang's voice came through the speakers again.
Humanity did not hide its strength to threaten you.
We hid it to protect you. The Devourers are coming for all of us. This is not about human pride or galactic politics. This is about survival. Let us help you survive. The chairman looked at Jiwan. If we agree to this, humanity will be leading galactic military forces. You will have power over species that have existed for millions of years. How can we trust you? Because if we wanted power, we could have taken it any time in the last 200 years, Jiwan said. We did not want power. We wanted to be ready. Now we are. The question is, will you let pride kill you, or will you let us save you? The leaders looked at each other. The Valon representative was the first to speak. If you can truly fight these things, then do it. Show us, prove you are not lying. Jiwan nodded. The Devourers are advancing on Telonis 4, one of your industrial worlds. You have a defense fleet there that will not last another day. Send us there. Let us show you what humans can really do. The chairman stood. Very well. The Council authorizes the human defense fleet to engage at Telonis 4. May whatever gods you believe in guide you. We do not need gods, Jiwan said. We have preparation. Admiral Kang saluted. All ships prepare for jump. Destination, Telonis 4. Show them what humanity has been building. The 300 warships moved in perfect formation. Reality bent around them as they activated their jump drives. In seconds, they were gone. The Council leadership stared at the empty space where the fleet had been. What have we just agreed to? Someone whispered. Survival. Jiwan answered. You have just agreed to survive. Captain Isil Park sat in the cockpit of her new ship. The Prometheus was nothing like the old cruiser she had commanded. Every system was advanced beyond anything the galaxy had seen. The controls responded to her thoughts through neural interface. The engines could bend space itself. The weapons made her smile. All fighters ready, her squadron reported. They were no longer flying outdated cruisers. Now they had Wraith fighters, built specifically to hunt Devourers. The human defense fleet emerged from hyperspace at Telonis 4. The planet below was under siege. Devourer ships swarmed around it like insects. The surviving Council defense fleet was making a last stand, but they were losing badly. Admiral Kang's voice came through on all channels. Council forces, this is Admiral Kang. We are here to assist. Fall back to defensive positions and let us handle the assault. Human ships, you need to run, a panicked voice responded. There are too many. They will destroy you. All ships, Kang said calmly. Engage enemy forces. Show them what we have been preparing. The human fleet moved forward. The Devourers immediately turned to face this new threat. Hundreds of organic ships broke off their attack on the planet and swarmed toward the humans. Park watched them come. Wraith Squadron, we have targets. Remember your training. These things are predictable once you understand them. The Wraith fighters engaged first. They moved faster than any ships the Devourers had faced. Using quantum displacement drives, they appeared to teleport short distances. A fighter would be in front of a Devourer ship, then suddenly behind it. The Devourers could not adapt fast enough, but it was the weapons that made the real difference. Park fired her main cannon. Instead of regular energy bolts, it fired resonance pulses. The wave hit a devourer ship and passed through its organic armor. The creature inside convulsed. Its neural network disrupted. The ship went dead in space. Target confirmed destroyed, Park reported. Resonance weapons are effective. Across the battlefield, the human ships unleashed their arsenal. Resonance cannons disrupted devourer biology. Viral warheads infected their organic systems, causing them to break apart from within. Quantum mines created unstable space that the devourers could not navigate. The Council forces watched in amazement. For the first time, the devourers were not winning. They were dying. Human ships moved through the swarm like hunters, picking off targets with deadly precision. But the devourers were adapting. Some of the larger ships began coordinating differently. They started targeting the human fighters specifically. Park saw 3 Wraith fighters get surrounded. Squadron 5, break formation. They are learning. One fighter did not react fast enough. A devourer ship latched onto it and began tearing it apart. Park dove toward them, firing everything she had. The resonance pulses disrupted the devourer enough for the pilot to eject. She grabbed the escape pod with a tractor beam and pulled away. All ships target the larger vessels first, Kang ordered. Do not let them coordinate. Commander Daehyun Lee commanded a specialized ship designed for close combat. The Ghost Brigade had trained for this moment. Admiral requesting permission to conduct boarding action on Target Alpha. Permission granted, Kang replied. Show them what our ground forces can do. Lee's ship approached the largest devourer vessel. It was the size of a small moon, a hive ship that controlled hundreds of smaller craft. As they got close, Lee activated specialized shields that let them penetrate the organic armor without triggering defensive responses. The Ghost Brigade soldiers wore powered armor covered in weapons. They breached the hull and entered the devourer ship. Inside was nightmare, pulsing organic corridors, strange creatures moving in the darkness. But the soldiers had trained in simulations built from data recovered from the ancient ruins. They knew what to expect. Move to the core, Lee commanded. Plant the charges and get out. They fought through the ship's interior defenses. The devourers tried to stop them with bioweapons and acid sprays. But human armor was designed to resist such things. The soldiers pushed forward, leaving antimatter charges at key points. Lee reached the core himself, a massive pulsing organ that controlled the entire hive ship. He placed the final charge directly on it. All units evacuate now. The Ghost Brigade ran back to their ship. They barely made it out before the charges detonated. The antimatter explosion tore the hive ship apart from inside. Without its coordination, hundreds of smaller devourer ships became confused and disorganized. Target destroyed, Lee reported. Boarding tactics confirmed effective. On the command ship, Dr. Minho Song monitored the battle. He was not a soldier. He was a scientist. But he had created many of the weapons being used today. Now it was time to deploy his most experimental creation. Admiral, the Horizon Protocol is ready, Song reported. Deploy it, Kang ordered. Song activated the protocol. Thousands of tiny capsules launched from the human ships. They spread across the battlefield like a cloud. When they touched devourer ships, they released nanomachines. Microscopic machines that could consume organic matter faster than the devourers could regenerate. The effect was immediate. Devourer ships began breaking apart as the nanomachines ate through their organic armor. They tried to adapt, but the nanomachines adapted faster. They had been programmed with every biological pattern found in the ancient ruins. Song watched the data. The protocol was working better than he had hoped. But he felt no pride. He had created a weapon that consumed living things. It made him sick. But it was necessary. That was what he told himself. The battle turned decisively in humanity's favor. Within 2 hours, the devourer swarm was destroyed. Not a single enemy ship escaped. Telonis 4 was saved. The surviving Council forces could not believe what they had witnessed. Admiral Kang opened a channel to all ships. This is humanity's answer to the devourers. We have studied them for 200 years. We know how they think. We know how they fight. We know their weaknesses. And we have built weapons specifically to exploit those weaknesses. He paused. But this war is not over. This was one battle. The devourers will adapt. They will learn. We must be ready to change our tactics. We must be ready to fight harder, because if we fail, there is no second chance. The galaxy either survives with us or it dies. Park landed the Prometheus back on the carrier ship. Engineer Surinam was waiting for her. Nam had been monitoring the fighter's systems during the battle. Captain, your ship performed perfectly, but I noticed stress in the quantum drive. We will need to make adjustments. How long will it take? Park asked. 6 hours. Maybe less if I skip safety checks, Nam replied. Do not skip anything, Park said firmly. We need these ships reliable, not fast. Nam nodded. She appreciated a commander who understood engineering. I will have her ready for the next battle. Across the galaxy, news of the victory at Telonis 4 spread rapidly. Humanity had done what no other species could. They had defeated the Devourers in open battle. The reaction was mixed. Some species were grateful and relieved. Finally, someone knew how to fight back. But others were disturbed. If humanity could hide this much military power, what else were they hiding? The Valon Empire was especially troubled. For centuries, they had been the strongest military power. Now they looked weak. Ambassador Ji-Wan Choi sat in her quarters on Axiom Prime Station. A message came through from the Valon representative. He appeared on her screen, his face showing barely controlled anger. You have made us look like fools, he said. I have saved your lives, Ji-Wan replied calmly. Whether you look foolish is not my concern. Why did you hide your strength? We could have prepared together, he demanded. Ji-Wan looked at him coldly. If we had revealed this fleet 200 years ago, what would you have done? Would you have thanked us? Or would you have seen us as a threat? Would you have demanded we share our technology? Or would you have tried to take it by force? The Valon representative had no answer. Ji-Wan continued. We know how galactic politics work. The strong dominate the weak. That is your way. So we appeared weak while we became strong. We let you mock us while we prepared to save you. And now that we have saved you, you are angry because we hurt your pride. This is not about pride, he protested. It is only about pride, Ji-Wan said. Your species has millions of years of history. You have empires and glory. And now you need help from humans who joined the Council only 2 centuries ago. That is what bothers you. Not that we hid our strength, but that you need us. She ended the transmission. Outside her window, human warships patrolled the space around Axiom Prime. They were here to protect the Council, whether the Council appreciated it or not. On Earth, Admiral Kang reviewed reports from the battle. They had won decisively, but he noticed something troubling in the data. The Devourers had started adapting near the end of the fight. They were learning from their mistakes. The next battle would be harder, he called Dr. Song. We need new tactics. The resonance weapons will become less effective as they adapt. Song nodded. I know. I am already working on variations. But Admiral, there is something else. The Genesis Protocol is ready. Kang closed his eyes. The Genesis Protocol was their most powerful weapon. It could destroy entire systems, but using it would leave those systems dead for centuries. Let us hope we do not need it, he said quietly. Let us hope, Song agreed. But both men knew that hope was not a strategy. The Devourers were still coming. And the N6 battles, 6 victories. The human defense fleet pushed the Devourers back system after system. What seemed impossible weeks ago was becoming reality. The galaxy was starting to hope again, but hope always has a price. Captain Esel Park stood on the bridge of the Prometheus studying battle reports. Each victory cost them more. The Devourers were learning faster than expected. They adapted to human tactics. They changed their formations. They found weaknesses in human weapons. Captain, incoming transmission from Fleet Command, her communications officer said. Admiral Kang appeared on the screen. He looked exhausted. Captain Park, new orders. The Devourers are massing at the Turthos system. Intelligence suggests they are planning something. We need reconnaissance. Understood, Admiral. The Prometheus will investigate, Park replied. Take Carrier Group 7 with you. If this is an ambush, you will need support, Kang said. And Captain, be careful. We cannot afford to lose you. Park gathered her fleet and jumped to the Turthos system. What they found made her blood run cold. The Devourers had built something. A massive structure floating in space larger than any ship. It pulsed with energy, and it was growing. What is that thing? Her tactical officer asked. Before Park could answer, the structure opened. Thousands of Devourer ships poured out, not the ones they had been fighting. These were different, faster, stronger. The Devourers had adapted and built new forms specifically to counter human weapons. All ships, evasive action, Park ordered. Get us out of here. The human ships tried to retreat, but the new Devourer forms were too fast. They swarmed the carrier group. Park watched in horror as one of the carriers exploded. Then another. The resonance weapons that had worked so well before were less effective against these new enemies. Prometheus, this is Carrier 3, a panicked voice screamed. They are tearing through our shields. We cannot hold them. Park made a hard decision. All fighters cover the retreat. Carriers jump to hyperspace now. Do not wait for us, but Captain, you will be trapped. Someone protested. That is an order, Park snapped. Get those carriers out of here. We will buy you time. The carriers jumped. Park and the fighters stayed behind, engaging the Devourer swarm. The Prometheus was designed for this kind of combat, but even it had limits. Multiple Devourer ships latched onto her hull. Alarms screamed. Systems failed. Engineer Suriname worked frantically to keep the ship running. Captain, the quantum drive is damaged. I need 10 minutes to repair it. You have 5, Park replied, spinning the ship to shake off attackers. Nam ran through the ship's corridors, dodging explosions and failing systems. She reached the engine room and saw the damage. The quantum drive's containment field was collapsing. If it failed completely, the ship would be torn apart. She started emergency repairs, her hands moving faster than she thought possible. On the bridge, Park fought to keep the ship alive. Come on, she whispered. More alarms. More damage. The Prometheus was dying around her. Drive is stable, Nam reported. Jump ready. Park did not hesitate. Jump now. The Prometheus escaped by seconds. Park sat back in her chair, shaking. They had survived. But barely. And they had lost 2 carriers. Hundreds of crew. Good people who had trusted her to lead them safely. When Park reported to Admiral Kang, his face was grim. The Devourers are evolving faster than we predicted. Our weapons are becoming less effective. We need something stronger. Dr. Song appeared on the screen alongside Kang. There is one option, the Genesis Protocol. But Admiral, you know what it does. Any system we use it in will be uninhabitable for centuries. How many systems? Kang asked quietly. The Devourers are strongest in 7 systems. If we deploy Genesis in all of them, we stop their advance. But those systems will be dead. No life, no colonies. Nothing, Song explained. Some of those systems still have populations, Park said. We would be killing millions. Millions will die to save billions, Kang replied. That is the choice we face. The Galactic Council was informed of the plan. The reaction was immediate and divided. Some species demanded humanity use Genesis immediately. Others refused to accept the sacrifice of entire systems. Arguments erupted. Old alliances fractured. Ambassador Jiwan Choi stood before the council. We did not prepare for 200 years just to become destroyers of worlds. There must be another way. The Valon representative stood. Your hesitation will kill us all. Use your weapon, end this war, and become what we are fighting. Choi replied. The Devourers consume worlds. You want us to sterilize them. How are we different? Because we will survive, the Valon shouted. The chairman raised his hand for silence. Ambassador Choi, you said humanity has been researching a long-term solution. What did you mean? Choi looked at the council members. Dr. Song's team has been studying Devourer biology. They believe the Devourers are not evil. They are following a natural cycle. They consume, they grow, they reproduce. Then they sleep. Every 10,000 years, the cycle repeats. So what? Someone asked. Knowing why they kill us does not help. It does if we can break the cycle, Choi said. If we can find their homeworld. If we can end this permanently, then we never have to face them again. Not in 10,000 years. Not ever. That is a fantasy, the Valon representative said. No one knows where they come from. We do, a new voice said. Engineer Suriname appeared on the display. I have been analyzing captured Devourer technology. They use quantum communications. All their ships are connected. I trace the signal. It leads to the galactic core. There is something there, something controlling them all. The council hall went silent. The galactic core was one of the most dangerous places in the galaxy. Dense gravity fields, radiation, unstable space. No ship had ever successfully traveled there. Even if we could get there, what would we find? The chairman asked. Dr. Song appeared. Based on our research, we believe there is a queen consciousness. Something that directs all the Devourers. If we can reach it, we might be able to communicate. Or if necessary, destroy it. This is madness, the Valon representative said. You want to negotiate with creatures that have killed billions? Admiral Kang spoke for the first time. I want to end this war. If there is a chance, any chance, to stop this permanently, we must take it. Even if it costs everything, he paused. I will lead the mission personally. The Prometheus is the only ship capable of surviving the journey to the core. We will find the source. We will end this. One way or another. Captain Park immediately stepped forward. Admiral, if you are going, I am going too. The Prometheus is my ship. Commander Lee spoke next. The Ghost Brigade volunteers for this mission. Engineer Nam nodded. Someone needs to keep the ship running. I will go. Dr. Song looked at them all. If this fails, if you do not come back, I will deploy the Genesis protocol. The galaxy will survive, even if you do not, Kang nodded. Understood. We have 1 week to prepare. The rest of the fleet will conduct diversionary attacks to draw the Devourers away from the core. When we launch, we will have one chance. We cannot fail. Ambassador Choi watched them prepare. She had spent 200 years working toward this moment. Every diplomatic smile, every humble speech, every moment of appearing weak. All of it led here, to humanity's greatest gamble. She sent a message to Admiral Kang. When this is over, the galaxy will remember what you did. Win or lose, humanity has proven itself. We are no longer the weak species in the corner. We are the ones who stood when others could not. Kang read the message and smiled sadly. We did not do this for glory, Ambassador. We did it because it needed to be done. I know, Choi replied. That is why history will remember you as heroes. The Prometheus prepared for its final mission. The crew knew the odds. They knew most of them would not return, but they also knew that if they succeeded, the galaxy would be free, not just for now, forever. As the ship launched toward the galactic core, Captain Park looked back at Earth one last time. It was a tiny blue dot in the distance. Home. The world humanity had always fought to protect. She smiled. Let us go save the galaxy, she said. One last time, the Prometheus jumped to hyperspace. Behind it, the entire human fleet moved into position. The largest military operation in galactic history was beginning. And at the center of it all was a single ship, carrying the hope of every living thing in the galaxy. The journey to the core had begun. The final battle was coming.